congratulations on the win. The last time you played with Novak, I believe in 2016 in Australia. It's been almost 2.5 years that you didn't play with Novak.
Don't remember, okay.
Before that, I believe in 2015 you had 7 or 8 matches. So is this something that you believe it's maybe advantage, disadvantage, and it's like, are you more looking forward?
Well, if that's the match, are you sure about it or not?
Yeah,
you are, okay.
It's 2000 semi-final of Australia.
Before my injury then, I guess, huh? So, yeah, I think what's nice about this is like fresh, you know? It's like, it's not like we've played in the last few weeks and everybody knows what to expect. I mean, we know how it could look like, but we're not quite sure. The fans, you guys, us as well, to be honest. A lot has happened since, you know. With injuries, both of us, we've been fighting, so, and we both came back strong again. So it's, I think that's what's nice about this time around with Novak in the match.
You won the first set breaker tonight. Last night you lost it. Just describe the mindset of best of 3, either being on the winning or losing side of a breaker going into the next set.
Well, I just think in general here in Cincinnati, you got to win the big points. You know, there's not that many opportunities, especially if you protect your serve well. Everything goes very quickly. You can't play the rallies like you normally would like to. You're playing very reactive on the return and active on your own serve. Of course, it helps when you win that first set tiebreaker because it's an emotional boost as well. Besides getting extra confidence, you know. So I was just happy how I was able to lift my game up, you know, throughout the set, and then also in the breaker I played a good breaker, so I was actually very happy.
Novak's been hitting some really good down the line backhands again, and that was something I think that he was missing during his slump. Like, I'm wondering if you watched him play closely enough to see if he's doing something different, or you know what he's done to fix that, or is that something you sort of leave up to your team and then they talk about it?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't pay that much attention to exactly know that he's not been hitting his backhand very well. I didn't, when they asked me in Indian Wells in Miami to judge Novak, I was like, well, it's not real Novak then. You know, he was just coming back and he came back too soon. Same at the Australian Open. That one wasn't quite the 100% Novak we know he can be. So I don't look at that kind of match like what could he be struggling with, because if you give him time, he'll fix that. Same with Stan. If he's got time, they'll fix it, and they'll be very different players, you know, 3 months down the road. And look what happened after the French, you know. Everything turned. He could have won Queens, should have won Queens, maybe ended up winning Wimbledon, and he's back in another finals, and it looks like he hasn't missed any tennis at all the last few years. So, no, but I think it gives him a lot of confidence as well, winning all those 3-setters now, because in Wells in Miami, what I saw there was a tired Novak, which was very rare to see that, you know, but that's why it wasn't real. He hadn't had enough practice yet. He's still coming fresh off his injury. So, yeah, I think he's playing much better tennis now. He's much more solid off the baseline, and I mean, I still think he's got room to improve, so be interesting to see how he finishes the year.
Where would you have him improve? Oh, sorry.
Well, just everything, you know, like just a little bit of everything. I don't know what that is exactly, but it could start with the serve, it could start with whatever it may be. Transition game, I don't know.
Novak and you both did interviews on Tennis Channel this week, and both were asked sort of what you would change about tennis, and you said you'd like more best of 5 and finals, and he said he'd like less best of 5. He wants Grand Slams to possibly go to best of 3 for the men as well. Has that been a debate that's going on among players still, or what would you think of the idea of Grand Slams shifting away from best of 5 for the men?
Well, I mean, it won't happen, so why the debate? I mean, and what are we the players to say anything? We know what happens when we say anything, it doesn't happen. So I just think it's a fun debate to have, but there was no purpose behind it. I was asked, what would you change? And I just find it a pity that the World Tour Finals is not a best of 5. And I do believe there is some key moments in the year where you could throw in the odd best of 5. I'm not saying we should add like 25 finals, you know, to make those best of 5. I'm maybe talking about maybe 5 to 7, 8, I have no idea. So just really a few. And I think it would also help the young guys maybe a little bit to get maybe a chance to play a few more best of 5 set matches before we go into the slam level, because I don't think the slams are going to ever change to best of 3 unless in 20 years we don't know what's going on and people are getting so sick and tired of watching, you know, 5-hour battles. But before that happens, I think we'll cut back on the long sets in the 5th, and there's other ways to cut back on on time than probably cutting the best of 5 at the slams.
Roger, I just want to ask you a question that we asked everyone in Toronto last week, but you obviously weren't there, so I'll ask you now. Daniel Nestor is retiring after, hopefully, assuming he plays Davis Cup in September. We're just curious about what kind of relationship you and Daniel have had over the years, and your thoughts on the legacy he's going to leave on the game.
It's a dangerous question because a lot of guys will say different things about Danny. He ain't just a normal guy, you know.
We've heard a lot.
Exactly. So I get along very well with Danny. I think we're one of the loudest guys in the locker room, believe it or not. So we always had a lot of fun for the last 20 years, you know, commentating on matches or having banter in the locker room. So I'm happy to see him go, not in the good way or in the bad way. Just I'm happy for him to take that next step because it should be an exciting one for him, and he should be very proud of everything he has achieved throughout his career.
Last English there? Yeah.
All right, Roger. You were having a great time hitting the balls out. You show some sense of humor. Going back to the Match for Africa video, the promo with you and Rafa, are you that big of a cut-up? Like, is that normal for you? Are you that funny guy?
I don't know. I think I am a fun guy to be with, yes. I think I'm I don't know, maybe other guys will say differently, but I'm very positive always, you know, so I don't wake up and I'm ever grumpy, to be honest. So I hope that makes me a pretty good husband and a pretty good person to be around and a good teammate and all that stuff. So of course there's days also I'm a bit more tired, but I like to have a good time, and I'm happy. I'm getting along very well with all the players, you know. I'm looking forward to the Labour Cup where we're going to be all on the same team. I'm going to spend some time with Novak as well, which I haven't spent that much time with, but I'm looking forward to that, for instance. Spending a week last year at the Labour Cup with Rafa was very cool, you know, because we've spent so much time in the locker room together, but then sometimes also facing each other. And I think that's what's kept a lot of guys on tour, is the good camaraderie we show to one another, and I think maybe Rafa and myself have maybe led the way a little bit, you know, from the times when I came in the locker room. There was fun moments, but there was also serious moments, you know, but I had the generation before me, likes of Moya and Henman and others, and Rafter and Curtin, that were wonderful for the game, and they would make you feel extremely welcome on the tour, and I'm still super grateful to those guys. And like we spoke about Nestor, having guys like this in the locker room, I think is really important for shaping your character as well. So I think there's a lot of great guys, actually, maybe more than you think.